So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name is Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube. I use spirits and my intuition, the tarot, to communicate energies to you guys, amazing viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad you guys found me. And for those of you guys returning, I'm so blessed and so grateful to be here again doing your reading. So today's reading, we're looking at what you are concerned with and what Spirit is suggesting you should focus on or actually be concerned with, okay? So we might be diverting our energies in one area, and Spirit wants you to maybe consider another look at something else, or maybe confirm what it is you're looking at. I don't know what we're going to see, but again, Spirit will never tell you what you have to do or need to do. Okay, you have free will to do whatever the heck you want. This is guidance, okay, for those of you guys who resonate with the pile. And there's only 3 picks here, obviously, and so I'm not tapped into every single person on the universe. We're all in different frequencies, timelines, etc., etc. Okay, so this will resonate for those of you guys needing to hear guidance. If you resonate with the energy in which you're concerned with, spending time sort of looking at or dealing with or working on, then chances are the guidance in regards to what you should be focusing on will be your advice. Okay, so as usual, don't take messages that aren't for you. If it's outlandish, surprising, gives you a heart attack, chances are it's not your message. This should be something you already intuitively know, okay? Whether you want to accept, look at, deal with is another story, but it should sound familiar, should have a ring of truth, and it's the overall energy in that pile that should resonate, not the specific details that might be pulled through for other people for confirmation. That's why it's important to come up with what you'll feel, hear, or see in the reading to determine whether it's your pile or not, especially if you're working through your intuition. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at the decks we'll be using. If you guys know straight away which option you want, we have 1, 2, 3. I will put the timestamp below. And yeah, but for those of you guys interested in the decks, let's take a look. There's quite a bit of them. I'll try to remember to put a link here for those of you guys who want to take a look at my playlist where I have these cards revealed as I, oops, you don't care about this, do you? No, you don't. This is the Anagram Oracle, which I don't know why I don't have the other card, but anyway, this is the Anagram Oracle. You'll find it on my playlist. I don't know where the card went. This is the tarot I'll be using for all 3, okay? Only 1 tarot pack, the rest are oracles. Let's take a look at the oracles. There's quite a bit. All right, so beautiful angels. Option 1 is this maroon marker with the little doggies on it. Doggy looks like, kind of looks like a little bit of a chihuahua, I don't know. Cutie patootie. Option number 2, you have the aerobic pussycat. Kitty cat, what's he doing? Oh no, he's dancing. Lime marker. Option number 3, you have the tangerine kitty cat who looks like he's giggling and has his hand over his mouth. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, sit with this energy, take as much time as you need. If you're called to multiple piles, absolutely fine. That's your intuition calling you. Okay, it could be different aspects. We're multi-dimensional beings, meaning And there might be different aspects how we can perceive certain things, and they can all be true. Okay, so don't force anything to fit, and I will see you at your pick. Hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 1. You guys picked the maroon marker with the doggy. What are we looking at? We're looking at where your energy is sort of going, what you're concerned with. Okay, maybe something you're working on, focusing on, and investing your time with energetically, whether you're aware of it or not. And then where you should sort of be focusing, what you should be concerning yourself with. Okay, so if you don't resonate with the part of what you're actually concerned with, then this isn't your pile. Okay, so you should resonate with that energy being your energy, even if it's a subconscious sort of leakage of energy towards some sort of thing. Okay, or if you're consciously working on something or aware of something, then make note of that. So what we'll do is we'll look at these oracle cards. I'll lay them all out. Then we'll pull some tarot if we need confirmation. Okay, but don't force this. This should be something that resonates with you. If you want to skip ahead to the channeled message, you could do that. Okay, but for those of you guys who are interested in developing your intuition, I do suggest you sit through this card layout. And I have not looked at these cards. I asked Spirit exactly that question. Okay, what are you focusing and looking at versus what you should be sort of looking at. Okay, so let's take a look. We have transition 43. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. Aren't we always transitioning, Spirit? Seriously. All right, 61. Uranus, Pluto. Is that a 1 or a 4? 61, that's 7, okay. So Uranus is the ruling planet for Aquarius. Pluto's a ruling planet for Scorpio. I'm getting Cancer energy from the 7, which is Chariot energy. But I'm also really picking up on Tower energy. So there really is this transition of deconstruction, or everything that maybe we held in regard is sort of being dismantled, if you will. There's a dismantling here in quite a significant, profound way. And what's being dismantled? Let's see. Judge. Light attributes: balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power. Shadow attributes: offering only destructive criticism, misusing business, legal, or criminal authority. Okay, I'm getting some Virgo energy here and some Libra. And so we have child orphan. Light attributes: independence based on learning to go it alone. Look at me shaking. That's crazy. I haven't even finished my cup of coffee yet. Shadow attributes: feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Healer. Light attributes: passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, spirit, ability to help transform pain into healing. Okay, shadow attributes: taking advantage of those who need help, failing to care for one's self. All right, and we have the Mystic 21, or the number 3. Butterfly, transformation, liberation. Okie dokie. Isolation 21, or the number 3. 3 is all about growth, relationships, initial success, Empress energy. Okay, Taurus, Libra, and also death, which I'm really feeling more of the death part here with this Tower and this transition. Scorpio energy with the Pluto. 3 is also creativity energy and joy and communication, self-expression, groups. Okay, groups of people. Maybe we're re-examining who we hang out with, or the people around us, or family members and friends. Short-term thinking, 30 or 3 again coming through. Yeah, we were really feeling that with the 21 and these two. So 21, I just noticed that. 2121 If you can Google that, put that in the comments. I'd be curious to know what that angel number means, 2121. Could be a message here for this group. There's a 7 here, and I thought we had another 7. Yeah, right here. Look at that. 7-7. So what's 77? Trust the fall, an adventure that arises from deep wisdom, trust of life, and trust of self. So we're having to trust yourself when everything's stripped away, not other people, not constructs, not old beliefs. What's going on here? Purpose. I know what I'm here to do. Oh, we have healer here. All right. So what do we have here? Mental tendency, 58. And the number 4, Aquarius energy, stability. Okay, this is all about structure and foundations and planning. It's also death energy, which I'm really feeling here. That's Scorpio energy. Bipolarity, manic depression. We have isolation. Borderline, instability, versatility, inconstancy, emotional imbalance. Type 4, the individualist, and emotional center between lack and abundance. All right, and then we have peacemaker, Libra energy. 9 and 3, more 3s. Okay, 9 is hermit energy, which is this isolation. We also have moon here, Cancer, Pisces. So what is this? Integration, growth level, wish for recognition, reconciliation, mediator, agreement, listening to yourself, awareness of your value. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting one's self. All right. Here we have sorrow. I just heard Nobody Knows song in my head. Message of concern, 14. So we have temperance energy. That's a healing balance energy. Sagittarius. Message of concern. What is this? Are we being given some information here from the divine or from others? Okay. We have party leader. So this is 6 Wands energy. Okay. This is our status, how we're being perceived or celebrated, acknowledged, how we're being welcomed and received by others, maybe our successes. Okay, maybe feeling like we have some sort of duty to others, maybe even potentially. Or we've got to perform for others. That's how we're feeling. Neptune. So this is being connected to the divine and the dream time and other dimensions, potentially getting lots of downloads. Maybe we have a vision or a dream of something that seems almost, I don't know, impossible, unworldly here. Number 9 again. So again, with that hermit moon energy. Virgo, Cancer, Pisces. And we have the Queen, determination and sacrifice. Oh my goodness. So feminine energy here. Are we sacrificing parts of ourselves? Are we martyring ourselves in some capacity for others here? Are we proving our self-worth? Here we have the catalyst, radical changes. Yeah, we're feeling that with Tower and Scorpio and all this. Radical changes and taking control. Good. So we see the bottle here. I think it says poison, you know, and it's, yeah, it's like bottled up here. The poison is sealed, and then we see letters here. We see letters here. I don't know if this is a crystal or what that is, but we have the catalyst. Okay. And here we have ego. Beyond the facade of ego lies the depth of true character. Yeah. Arrogance, pride, vanity. All right. Power. Look at that. Lightning. We have this Uranus energy, Tower energy with this lightning. Right by the catalyst. Okay, makes sense to me. And here we have fulfillment. And a Capricorn, Sagittarius energy. The little ship here, talking about travel, movement. We see a bag of money or coin, which could talk about the material world, the pentacle realm, maybe your finances, what we value. Okay. Sitting beside us here, fulfillment. Okay, another 9. So the numbers in your reading are 9s and 7s and 3s. Okay, 9s, 7s, and 3s could mean something. I don't know. Okay, we do have a few 5s and 6s as well, but yeah, couple of 6s here. Okay, so, and a couple of 5s as well. No, just 1 5. Okay. Let me sit here with this energy, you guys, and then channel. I don't know what I want here. What wand do I want, Spirit? Yeah, let's use this one. Okay. Okay, this one is, oh, thank God that I'd be here till midnight. Beautiful angel. Beautiful. Okay, could be your energy, someone around you, doesn't matter. It's in your vicinity. Strongest energy pulls through. I do feel it's your energy. What's going on here? I feel like the big fat changes are happening to you, like massive on a huge scale here. And so this is giving off the energy of, like, let's say, your house sort of, well, I don't want to scare anybody with this, but so let's just say, like, okay, I need to find a place by the end of the week sort of energy. Like, that's not what this is saying, but this is the type of energy. I need to find a place by the end of the week. And I spend 4 days or 5 days trying to scrub a stain off my shoe that's been really annoying me, and I don't know how to get it off, and I'm like trying to do that. That's how this sort of feels, That's very extreme. And I don't think the stain analogy is in line with the thing that you are focused on, because I think the thing you're focused on is legit. And I think it's a good intention, because I feel like what you're trying to do here is focus on being selfless and giving to other people and what's going to make other people sort of happy here. But Spirit's saying that's a small speck in what's going on in your world. Okay, so what's happening here? Your world is being flipped through and through, inside out. I feel there's been a catalyst, an event. Sometimes this happens with a divorce, a near-death experience, a other soul catalyzes us into some form of awakening. Something's happened here. Maybe it was spontaneous. Some sort of revelation in our world here. That, this could be a huge sort of dark night of the soul, spiritual awakening, Kundalini enlightenment, whatever you want to call it. It's now our life is completely being looked at and examined, because everything that we thought was true or who we were is actually suspect now. People, places, things, jobs, so we might be doing one thing at a time, and maybe we haven't done our whole scope of everything just yet. Okay, and this isn't Spirit saying you have to do anything. This will come to you through Spirit, and I feel it has. Things that need to go are slowly being brought to your attention, having to be examined, having to be looked at. And we either don't feel the same, think the same, or can resolve it the same. I feel as though this is a lot to do with realignment. All of this is realignment, and Spirit is saying during this period of realignments, there's isolation, there's depression, there's feeling sad, there's all of this type of stuff. And it's like, I am used to whatever I sort of experienced in my past world, where I could work with people and be seen as maybe the person here who was more in control, or was seen as, I don't know, appreciated, celebrated, and fun times, and got along. And now I'm experiencing, like I can't get along, and I don't know. And so there's this like still trying to hang on to maybe people please, or do things kind of the way you used to before, just so it sort of isn't a major shift, especially from maybe people that do know you from the past or from your, existing world. It's like, I don't want to just come out and be this complete different person, and this is coming from a place of not wanting to be judged, or not wanting people to, I don't know, say what happened to Linda, did she go all crazy, which probably happened here to me. So I totally understand what this energy is about. It's like you had it all together, or you had a world that worked for you, or you just don't even understand this whole thing here that's happening, and so we could get really sort of fixated on, the conversation that's happening in the moment, or the thought that comes in that it's like, how can I be normal in this moment to maybe, and it's not even people please or appease, it's like to be my old self to manage this. Because it's like, if I don't know my future self or my new self, what's the self that's handling this situation? This is all about like finding self, and when we're transitioning, we don't know who the fuck we are. And this isn't saying you don't know who you are, so you're pretending to be someone else. No, that's deep in the matrix. This is moving out of the matrix, shedding what we know we're not, but then we still don't know who we really are here. And that's the big message here, is that you're coming into who you are, which this is happening in order for there to be a beautiful metamorphosis of your energy that, one, is going to free you, liberate you from suffering and all sorts of things, align you with your authenticity, and align you with your greater purpose. And a great purpose here we don't see, or maybe we're sort of on that path, but we haven't reaped the rewards or seen any accolades or aligned with it. So it's like, all this for this, spirit, like what you're experiencing, because we're still not there yet. And I feel like a lot of you guys are aligning with the purpose of providing healing to the collective, however this happens, through your art, through your hands, through your words, through your energy, however it comes, because we're all sort of gifted by the creator with certain ways. And actually, that reminds me, I'm going to have to write this down. I really want to do like, what's our special power? What are we gifted with by the divine? Because certain people are gifted with certain things. You are gifted here, okay? And this gift isn't one just to enhance you. This gift is one to share and bless the people around you in the world, and to alleviate them from suffering in whatever capacity or world here. Okay, so I feel like you might feel like you're really experiencing the abandonment of it all, or the pain of it all, because it does hurt when we build something and then we're stripped of it, even if it was something that maybe was okay or acceptable, or, like maybe it was fantastic. But whatever it was, it could not stay because it was misaligned. And so Spirit's like, hey, child, I want to have your story sort of written here. And I've been trying to give you this information. And so it might come at times where it's really heavy. And I'm only giving you what you can handle in the moment, But if I give you all of it, it might seem almost dreamlike and surreal. It's like, which you might have experienced, because when we're going through this, it's like angel numbers, dreams, signs, symbols, synchronicities. And, it's very intense here. It's like, what's real, what's not, and what's part of this spiritual path, and what part am I losing my mind? And so we might get a download or see something or hear something and then be like, uh-oh, or not know where to put it, and then get really lost in the weed of it, where Spirit's like, this is all about the healing, the balance of taking this transition period at a pace that integrates it, not rushing through it, not trying to foresee where you're going, not do anything except for in the moment, wherever you're at, take that in. And if it is a feeling of sorrow is here, Spirit, and I recognize this too shall pass. Isolation is here. I know I'm being headed towards my soul tribe. There's movement here, although right now I might feel isolated because all the people who I would, have around me, I was used to that. But there's something here about it being misaligned. So it wasn't seeing your authentic self. So the person they were celebrating or enjoying or seeing was actually your false self, was the ego self, the pride self, the show that you'd put on there. And it wasn't because you're trying to trick people and any of this. It's the ego, the identity. So I was this and that in that person's world. That was your ego. That was your construct. Okay. And if I had $1 for everyone who says a little bit of ego is okay, I don't know. I think I'm going to shoot myself in the head. That's a figure of speech for those of you guys freaking out, because this is, when we're on this, it does go bit by bit by bit. Okay. And not everyone goes through, at the end of it all being sort of completely enlightened in some way. But some people definitely need to get to a certain point of ego understanding in order to become a certain level of healer. And I do feel like the more of the ego we shed, the story we see through. Okay, the ego is always going to be in the background chirping, of course. You can't get rid of that. But you are aware of when it's acting in the subconscious and program controlling what you say and do, okay? So right now there is some ego part of you. And I feel like this ego part of you is the judge. And I think this judge is really mostly about yourself, but also about your situation. This is a big one because you already have these preconceived, which is ego, by the way, understandings. And we could say, well, if I'm just naive and have no understanding expectation, then I'm kind of wandering, open, exposed to getting hurt and down the wrong path. And like, we can't just be sort of blind. Actually, we open up the heart. When we go through this, the heart opens, and the heart is the most discerning thing. It doesn't come from judgment. It doesn't come from, trying to use ego to sort of prop things up or get certain outcomes or try to outwit the universe. The heart opens, and then the heart makes decisions that are in line with truth, like actual truth and reality. So this doesn't mean the heart opens and now everything's butterflies and beautiful and all I'm giving away is all this love and high vibes and good vibes only. No, that's la, spiritual bypassing. That's not what I'm talking about. This is heart opening where now the heart makes decisions, not the part that's going to prop me up or make me feel better or like where I make a story. I make a story so that even if you do want a win-win for everyone, it's like, but you still are sort of the doer in manipulating situations because you think you have certain understandings. This is all about deconstructing the understanding. You actually don't have any understanding, and it gives us security to think we do, But when we go through a really profound, significant spiritual awakening, we deconstruct every single thing. This doesn't mean all of a sudden we lost our morals and we're acting all crazy here because nothing matters except, me being happy in this very moment. No, but it's any attachment, story, identity that we created, beliefs that are really ingrained in us must be looked at, and then they are seen through as not real. And then we can make conscious choice to say, do I want to live my life in line with that? Or is that not my authenticity? That's what it is. And so we go through all of these identities and beliefs and we examine them one by one by one. And it doesn't matter how ingrained it was. I've been Catholic since I was born. Now I'm 60. Okay. Does that mean it has to be, or does that mean that's the way I've always lived? There's this energy of having to review every belief. Okay. And then also this judge, like I said, is like not passing judgment of self. I should be here. I should be there. Or I need to understand this or where this is going or, and this is normal when we're transitioning and there is a lot of sorrow and isolation for sure. Because when we're in sorrow and isolation and feeling removed from our tribe and like we don't fit in anymore, or we're no longer in that energy. And like I said, for some of you guys, maybe you were very loved, in your false self. Your egoic self was maybe appreciated or revered or like celebrated. And for others of you guys, this is coming through as this is actually your purpose. Being like maybe famous, or it comes with the territory through your healing, through your purpose. It could be you are meant to be a star. That could be your purpose. Some people are put on the planet to act, sing, dance, and be like famous. Okay, but to other people here, I just feel like maybe this is how you were, you had this limelight life. And now it's like, oh, well, like, now look at me, and so we can make judges like, now I'm isolated, I have no one around, I feel sad, I feel, like no one understands me, or like this part of me is now being shunned by everyone. And it's like, I still want people to sort of maybe see me or still have one toe in that world. But I do know the reality of what's going on, and I feel I'm being pushed out. And Spirit is saying, focus on allowing yourself to shed what isn't you, because that will get you to where you're supposed to go. Because this short-term thinking is the part where we're still trying to accommodate, have one toe in, and still pass judgment about, where I need to be, where I should be, how this should be going, and having these sort of understandings that aren't necessarily true. Okay, and so I feel like we're really healing a lot of the abandoned child, within us. So abandonment wounds, things that happened when we were a child, very integrated in our subconscious, and really maturing that part of us that reacts from that place that never got healed. So when we have fears, there might be an MO that we do, I don't know, we run or we get emotional, or is there something here? And it's like, this is what's being recovered. It's like, we're really seeing our reactions. We're really seeing where our actions have been stemmed from for the last however long they've been. And so this is the final metamorphosis. And I say final because I do feel like this is, a butterfly, which is gone through whatever the first cells of the caterpillar, then the chrysalis, and then to the butterfly. Like, there's a lot of stages here. And I don't know if you're at butterfly stage just yet. I feel like we're all in different sort of places, but I feel like there's still a transition of shedding and a deconstruction of the tower and beliefs. And really, really now we're really having to transition into this ego, like to look at it and to be honest with ourselves about the ego. And the ego keeps popping up. And once we get rid of sort of the big ones, the ones that are very much in charge or have been doing the big actions in our world, the big ones, then the little ones are there. There's lots of ego. And we start to see how we engage from the smallest little thing where it's like, wow, that was actually ego. Oh, so was that. And so was that. And so was that. And so was that. And so was that, and then we observe. And this is sort of what's happening. It's like coming to your attention. And like, even those small things become totally misaligned to amount to big things. And it's like, I'm just going to allow myself to align to my authenticity. I'm not going to try to control or try to understand or pass any judgment about what should be and what has to be, because that's a sort of a waste of time to provide temporary comfort while I'm getting calibrated here, but it doesn't feel good to be isolated in sorrow. And so we reach out, to these things. And so this is where you're sort of concerned, is like, I'm concerned with the immediacy of how I'm feeling right now, because I don't want to be not seen, the way I was in the past, or be left out, or I don't know, let go of that thing just yet. Because I'm either not trusting spirit or feels uncomfortable, or I'm just not there yet because I haven't shattered that belief yet, And I know what doesn't feel good, because it doesn't. Isolation, sorrow does not feel good. So you're being true to your feelings, You're not going to turn on your own feelings and say, I'm isolated and I have sorrow, but I'm just going to pretend it doesn't exist. That's spiritual bypassing. Okay, but what spirit is really saying is, when sorrow is here, feel the sorrow. And then know, like you know. The sorrow is here in order for there to be something revealed to you, for something to be uncovered, for you to make big change, for you to break through this illusion, this matrix, or this thing that really is going to create more suffering if we hang on to it, because it's misaligned. No matter how valiant, no matter how much of a good intention it was of a belief or a story that we held, or how much good it did in the world. I helped people in the past, and I raised a family, and I made good money, and but now we're aligning with the authentic self, and the authentic self might be somebody who, I don't know, sits under the bridge and plays music with the guitar all day long, and then becomes famous and makes money like that, but is happy. Okay, or it could be somebody all of a sudden who, I don't know, becomes like a famous actor. That's all I wanted to do was act. And what was I doing being a doctor? Like, I don't know, something like this, but whatever it is, it provides healing. Okay. And there's different levels of healing, like I said, because what we might find healing, might be someone else, not someone else's version of it. So people need healing in different ways. Through music, they heal. Some people heal through touch. Some people heal through counseling. Some people heal through whatever it is that you're producing, because you're going to produce this. And I feel like some of you guys might have already started producing, but whatever this is, it's aligning you with your highest purpose. Okay. But I feel like we might know this, because I feel like your intuition should for sure already be kicking in with this. We can't ignore these dreams, these numbers, these signs, and everything, because this is very heavy and intense, to the point where we might have thought we were going sort of crazy here. But going through this deconstruction is like very turbulent, and so this is why this bipolarity, because it's like, I don't know what's happening, or like, I want to maybe kind of be excited at the same time, knowing that there might be change, because I can't sustain the way I was. For some of you guys, maybe you didn't want to change, but for some of you guys, maybe you want it. Maybe it was like, no, it's about time I know change, but it's like, but I didn't know it was going to come with all of this other stuff. And so you might get very depressed. You might get very, very depressed here. Okay. Or all of a sudden one day it's like completely emotionally off, and That's okay. Don't judge. Okay. Because again, like this isn't saying if you have really been diagnosed with some form of depression, just ignore it. Okay. You'll know if that's something that you're battling here, or if you're really bipolar in some way. But there's a lot of misdiagnosis saying people are bipolar, or that they're crazy or insane, or, all of these, I don't know, made up things where it's like, no, sometimes we're just aligning with certain things. And this could be ups and downs in the emotional body. And so we just need to understand ourselves and have acceptance and acknowledgement, and not resist it, not fight it, not try to be something else other than what's experienced in that moment, because sadness is not going to stay, but sadness always comes. Isolation isn't always going to stay, but isolation sometimes is required, and sometimes it's longer than others. You're coming into this divine Empress energy, I really feel here, with all these threes. Okay, regardless if you're masculine or feminine, it doesn't matter. This divine Empress is all about love. And maybe this was your soul's lesson here, was how do I give and receive love to the collective from this soft place, from this divine feminine, this beautiful fertility of creating some purpose in this world and birthing it into life, whether you're masculine or feminine. The birthing of this thing can only be done through you and your authentic self, through coming through the divine. But you got to be clear to listen to the divine. And so your channel must be clear in order for you to produce whatever it is you're being called to produce. But when the information comes and it hits a block, what block is it hitting? It hits shadow, it hits ego. And then we don't hear, we don't see the signs. And that's why a lot of people who are in Matrix are still asleep or unconscious, if you will. Okay, they're conscious, but they're unconscious because they're in program. They don't start seeing numbers. You tell them about the numbers, they have no idea what you're talking about. You start telling them about synchronicities and signs, and they don't know what you're talking about. You start talking to them about spirituality and other dimensions and ascension, and they give you the fluoride stare. They have no idea what's going on here. Okay, so in order for you to get this channel clear, we must identify the egos. This doesn't just automatically fall away. This creates suffering. This is the cause of suffering, the ego, the false self, and the identity and the stories. As long as we have ego, we will suffer. Now, we could get rid of a lot of it and then be okay and sort of, stop there. But if we truly, truly want to find enlightenment, and then again, enlightenment isn't a state that we're at and all of a sudden we stay there. It's like connect with enlightenment. And you can have brief moments of connecting with enlightenment. And what this is saying is like, the more clear your channel is, the more this purpose and this producing of thing that you're being called to do can come through from the divine. But when we start to have the shadow and the ego sort of block or get fuzzy, then we start to feed that and judge that and get back in ego, and then this gets blocked, and then spirits can't communicate. The intuition isn't coming clear, and then we're like, is it fear? Is it intuition? Am I supposed to do this? Supposed to do that? And then we get all screwed up. Then we might even have this message of concern. It's like an anxiety, or like it starts to fear, like get out of balance, or like starts to emotionally get dysregulated, because all of a sudden we don't know what to do with this. It's mixed with the ego and mixed with the fear, and we don't know what's real and what's not. And it's like, no, the ego is just the false self, the fears, the stories, the need for control, the judgments, okay, the old beliefs, constructs, who you thought you had to be or who people told you needed to be. And the divine comes through with clean, pure energy here. And it is felt intuitively, and there is no doubt when your intuition's on point. It's like, you don't second guess this ever. And so if we're dealing with people around us that make us second guess ourselves, or that confuse us or keep us in the dark, or like make us totally not know up from down, it's like, this is the stuff that's going away. It has to go away, because your intuition is going to be so on point that never again do you question the divine and your intuition. And you'll see it from a fear. You'll see it from the ego. You'll know the difference here. This message from the divine and this intuition is so freeing, and it's very clear channel, and it's not a sense of urgency and fear that we're clinging to. It feels very peaceful, still, certain. You don't have to second guess it. Only when the ego is loud and the fears are loud do we start to not really understand, And so we're sort of our worst nightmare when we get all up in the mix, not knowing left from right, all because of this ego that's kicking up a little bit of a storm. So Why is this happening? It's for you to get fulfilled. Your old world, your old life, your old friends, family, situation, work, whatever. And it, like I said, could be one area of your life. It could be all of it. Okay. For a lot of you guys, I feel it's all of it. Okay. But sometimes we want to do bit by bit because that's within our control, we think. And sometimes the spirit comes through and just rips everything away, saying, no, it's not bit by bit. This is your path, you know? I don't know how spirit's doing it for you, but sometimes spirit is gentle because we need gentle, and sometimes spirit just says enough. And so why this is happening is because those situations, those beliefs, or that structure you had was actually not fulfilling or not going to be fulfilling anymore. So it doesn't mean it didn't bring fulfillment. It didn't mean that it was bad, that it wasn't supposed to happen, and that you were pretending to be someone else. No, that was part of your path journey. That was who you were when you were in that energy. And now spirit is saying you're aligning with your authentic self, which comes with a different territory, people, jobs, things. And this is going to bring you fulfillment because that other world is actually a dead end now. It's outlived its purpose. It's exhausted. It's no longer going to do what it needs to do for you, because what you are being called to do here, which is what you should really be sort of eye on the prize here, is your purpose and this calling thing, okay? And it will be fed to you. And so what can you do is really just focus when the ego comes in here, not by giving judgment, not by saying, oh, I hate ego, even though like I always say ego was the cause of suffering. So, but it's like by seeing our own, understanding it, and its purpose there. It's trying to help me. It's trying to save me. It's trying to create something here, but I don't need it. Thank you, ego, for being here. Thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for everything you've sort of been guiding me here, trying to make sure that I was safe, or that, whatever it was doing. Definitely it had a purpose, but it's no longer required here. What's required here for you is this clear channel that can only come once we are out of any preconceived anything. If we have any preconceived notions, ideas, and beliefs, we're too blind to see anything other than this, what's coming through here, because this might be completely opposite of what we thought, it doesn't work. And so at first it might be disorientating. We don't want to believe it. We don't want to see it. Maybe we're really stuck to our religion or beliefs or whatever the thing was, this could really contradict it. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean spirit comes through tarot, I would have never, I don't know, that could be a judgment, especially if we were like Catholic or whatever. And it's like, my family doesn't do that or whatever, that's a contradictory type thing. But it's like, well, spirits is working through however it works through to give you a wake up and a shake up. So instead of resisting or denying or suppressing or making up stories, we have to surrender and lean into spirit, and observe. If we don't accept it right away, just observe. Don't resist, don't fight, don't try to coerce the situation to be different. Don't try to control reality. Allow whatever spirit is doing to do what it does. And if you have discomfort, notice that. That's the ego. Observe that. That's the judgment. Spirit's bringing this egoic self to the surface for you to look at. That's why the discomfort's there. So as long as we feel discomfort, as long as we're feeling uncomfortable, uneasy in some way, it's like spirit's showing you something, So it's really a blessing. And then you're going to have this power here through this tower. You're going to have the power to really fulfill yourself. And this, like I say, little sword here, because I feel like this is the authentic truth. And with this Sagittarius, it's like unstoppable energy to take action on your authenticity and only your authenticity. Walk and talk your truth, regardless of who said, what said, it doesn't matter. And when you're in line with this, everything else follows. It's from the inside out. It's not trying to chase dollars, or approval, or like try to fit into corporations and do. It's like, no, it's like, I am master of my ship. And when you're like this, obviously once you find your authentic self, it's like everything and everyone comes around you and appreciates this and sees this is drawn to you in your magnetism, and the spirit always protects you when it comes to financial reward and wealth. The spirit's got your back on this path, no matter how much you have to abandon ship of your old past, or live in a van down by the river. It's okay, if that's what you're called to do, of course. You know, you're being called to do something here, and I think you already know what it is, and it'll be shown in front of you. You know, if you don't get it right the first time, it was meant to be that way. Spirit, show me again, show me the way, you know, and the prayer should be, give me what it is I'm needing in order for me to see what it is that I'm being shown. That's it. So if I'm being shown to be isolated, show me that. If I'm being called to sit in sorrow, show me that. Whatever this sorrow is happening, I know it's showing me something of ego. If I'm sitting in isolation, I know it's showing me something of shadow or ego. If it's showing me something here of discomfort, it's showing me my abandonment wound. What am I not seeing here that's being shown to me? And once you see it, it can never haunt you. It can never hold you hostage. You're free because you've seen the light. You shine the light in the shadow. You've seen through the ego. But if you don't, it's always in the shadow. It's always fear of abandonment. It's always trying to control. It's always trying to conquer. It's always trying to survive. And it hides in there and it reacts and creates havoc. And so we're in this energy where it holds our emotions hostage, and Spirit saying, no, no more of that. We're going to shine the light, and we shine the light through these periods that are very uncomfortable, you know? So get out of short-term thinking and know that Spirit's got you on a big purpose here, you know, and people will be blessed to have you a part of their life. They want to have you as a part of their life when you're aligned with this thing, and let it unfold as it does, you know, at whatever pace. And you might want it to go quicker, maybe, you know, like hurry up already. Just hurry up. It's like, no, Spirit knows it's not going to throw you in the deep end. And if Spirit does throw you in the deep end, know that it was meant to be this way. Okay, everyone's transition is different, and everyone's transition takes however long it takes. However long it takes is as long as it takes. Okay, so this is your reading, beautiful angels. I don't feel I need tarot because I went off, and that was your channel. Okay, if you guys were pulled to another pile, I will see you there. All right, bye-bye. Hello, gorgeous angels. You guys pick pile number 2, the lime marker with the aerobic kitty cat. Absolutely adorable. All right, let's take a look. What are we looking at? So I have not looked at these cards. I asked Spirit specifically for pile number 2. What are they sort of concerned with? They're investing their time, their energy, whether you're conscious of it or not. Where's your energy sort of going? And what should you sort of be focused on or concerned with? Okay, so they could both be aligned, or it could be that you're spending time, energy, effort someplace else, and Spirit wants to direct you. Now, Spirit's never going to tell you what you need to do, have to do. Okay, so don't take it as that. It's always up to you, whichever direction you want to go. But if there's some suffering or some resistance or something feels like it's not feeling right, then maybe consider going in this direction. Okay, if you don't resonate with what it is you are sort of feeling like where your energy is going, then this isn't your pile. Okay, now keep in mind it could be on a subconscious level as well. Okay, so let's see. What do we have? We have integration. 30. The frequency of integration supports our embrace of every aspect of ourselves, allowing what we perceive as positive and what we perceive as negative to harmonize in a balanced symphony of life. Wow, isn't that beautiful? Some of you guys might have been deciding between pile 1 and 2, because I'm feeling a little bit of 1 here. Now, you can skip ahead if you want, but I do suggest you use your intuition here, okay, to sit through this card layout, which you'll see feeler here to determine whether this pile is yours, okay? But if you want to go ahead, you can skip to the channeling. Forgiveness. I acknowledge that harboring resentment blocks the flow of love. Oh my goodness. It's orange here. And we have their goodness, 13. So 13 is death energy, Scorpio energy. It's also 4. 4 is all about structure, foundations, and planning. Their goodness, okay. And we have harmony, compulsion ideal, number 9. Harmony, tranquility, kindness, calm, comfort, adaptation, friendliness. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting one's self. Okay. And we have avoidance, 19, ego level, anger, losing control, annoying, pleasure, mistaking, impulsiveness, personal desires. Type 1, the perfectionist, instinctive center between control and letting go. So I'm getting Virgo here with the 9 and the 1, because this is magician, this is hermit. Okay, I'm also getting Leo with 19. So that's sun energy. Let's see. We have a room. We have an empty chair. I always get Aries, and an empty chair could mean someone leaving our life or us leaving someone's life, maybe feeling abandoned. But the room could be talking about feeling safe or secure, or structured in some way here, or limited, being boxed in. Okay, thoughts, 16. So this is tower energy. Thoughts, okay, being in the mind. We have justice, so Libra energy, 216, so 1616. You can look up that angel number if you can and put in the comments. I'd be curious to know what that angel number is all about here. But, oops, getting stuck here. Bracelet's getting stuck in my hair. So, justice falling right under forgiveness here. Yeah, okay. And then we got the one who hides the sun, number 8, Leo energy. Okay. Aquarius as well. 62 with Neptune. So Neptune is a ruling planet for Pisces. 8. So 8's all about strength. Okay. Because it's a strength card in the tarot, which is courage, movement, change, attainment. Okay. So we have gold, 26, or the number 8 again. 888. So 88's a master number. A higher calling that is grounded in self-awareness and reverence for life. We're being called for self-awareness for something here. We're not seeing it just yet. Priest, light attributes, facilitates spiritual commitments, serves as a channel of spiritual energy. Shadow attributes, violates the trust of your spiritual community, seduced by your own spiritual role. Okay, interesting. And then we have angel. Oh my goodness, priest and angel, right by gold. Insane. Light attributes, helping those in need with no expectation of return. Shadow attributes, acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with the angelic guidance. Okay. And we have Aletheia. And what is this? 77? Yeah, 77. A trust. Trusting the fall. An adventure that arises from deep wisdom. Trust of life and trust of self. Yes. So what is this Aletheia? I'm going to read this in the book before we go. So the pathless, difficult decisions, and lack of direction. So this one gold arm or hand. There's gold. Everything else is sort of white. And there's the intuitive eye. The pathless. Pathless path. Okay, illusion. Seek reality, even if it's raw and challenging. We have mirage. And we have... It's so hard to see these faint writing. Fantasy and deception. So this would be this energy here. Okay. Room. Yeah. Okay. And then we have community. Oh, beautiful butterflies here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 butterflies. No, 6 butterflies. 8. Wow. Okay. So butterflies talk about transformation, freedom. Okay. But community could be our aligning with the right people or the similar people, maybe people of the same sort of level. Okay, I say level, not that we're tiered, but level of understanding, you know. And here we see the rainbow. I'm getting Pisces energy. It's a change of perspectives, having hope, needs to see things from all aspects. Oh my goodness, we have companionship. Okay, how are we going to cover this thing up? So we have moon in, what is that, Libra. Moon in Libra, okay, companionship. Number 7. And Cancer, Pisces, appreciation, moon in Leo. 5, okay. Okay. Aletheia, even though your message is clear, just to see with ouch. My hair keeps getting stuck. Is it this one, Spirit? Yes. Okie dokie. Let's see. Okay. It says truth. Yeah. Our soul recognizes the truth. When someone speaks it, a cool wave of relief washes over the room, and all the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is the power of aletheia. It has an undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. We can also recognize aletheia by its contagiousness. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truth within ourselves and are more likely to tell our own story. The aletheia card requires us to step towards an act of truth. This might look like a conversation, a gesture, a poetic act, or a ritual that honors the unveiling of what's been concealed. Reclaiming your own truth is a way to reclaim your vital energy, health, and sense of belonging in a world. Of belonging in the world. Truth has its own wings. Set it free. So when in light, clarity, revelation, and disclosure. When dark, distortion, gaslighting, and excuses. It's said that the resonance of our voice changes when we speak a falsity. In the light, practice seeing truth as a vibration. Okay. Sit here with this energy for a little bit. I'm actually now, I'm being close for this one, sorry. Their goodness. Not gonna read the whole thing, but I just want to see what are we being shown here. Their goodness, page 38. It says, if you have drawn this sigil, you, and potentially they, are not clearly seeing the goodness, capacity, or excellence of the other person, people involved in the situation. Yeah, okay. If you have drawn the sigil in the situation at hand, either you do not see the other person's goodness, capacity, and excellence, or they do not see the qualities in themselves or each other. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly as I suspected. Okay. Okay. Pile number 2. I do feel this is your energy, okay? But if you feel it's more somebody around you, it could be possible as well. Okay, but I do feel this is your energy. So you're hurting right now. You're experiencing where other people are the cause of your suffering, whether you're acknowledging this or not. Maybe you know that you're doing this, and maybe you still believe it. The main crux of the pain and the suffering here is that you believe that what someone else says is real, and it impacts your value and your happiness, which is absolutely not true. It isn't. And I know that people would say, well, if someone's just acting inappropriate or blah, 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 it's like, we're just, not supposed to accept that behavior and whatever. And it's like, it's not even about acceptance. It's about, it doesn't impact you one way or another because it has nothing to do with your innate value, period, end of story. So whether you sit there and listen to them or not, and if you feel aversion, I don't want to sit here and listen to that. I need to be treated with respect. That's ego, and that's already letting it kind of get to you. Even if you're fighting that why it shouldn't. No, I know my value. That's why I'm fighting against this. I shouldn't be treated this way. I. All of these eyes are ego eyes. When we truly transcend and don't let it to get to me, I could sit there and listen to it, and it doesn't even faze me. Now, it doesn't mean you got to sit there and take it in a way here that wastes your time. You just mosey on with your world, doing whatever you were doing. I'm here to, wash my laundry, pick up my socks, go here. It really doesn't impact you at all because you know that your innate value does not come from anyone else's words or their thoughts or their projections. So right now, I feel like you've experienced somebody's projection of something. And the worst of it here, though, is that regardless of how they acted, which I feel hurt you, okay, and I'm sorry if they hurt you, okay, I really am, is the fact that there is actually more to this story, and I feel like you're not seeing any of the positive, And all you're sort of sticking to is seeing what's happened to you, how that impacted you, how that took something away from you, how that made you feel. And so there's this anger is what comes through here. We might be just annoyed, whatever the scale is. We might not be outrightly infuriated, but it's the tinge of that realm that we're still hanging on to. I'm still upset. I'm still annoyed. I'm still trying to seek from you validation for me. And as long as we carry a level of that and we can't completely let go and forgive, we're the ones that carry the burden. And so Spirit's really talking about you're focused on making and rationalizing and justifying and understanding from the same level of thinking that's creating the suffering. You might want to play that slow and back. Okay. And when this actually requires you to have a complete different perspective here in order for things to be harmonious, because I do feel like for a lot of you guys, you could be dealing with another person in which there needs to be some form of harmony and resolution for whatever reason. We have children together. We run a business together. I don't know, there's maybe just a lesson of sorts here that we need to get through in order for us to learn these lessons. I don't know what the needing is for, but I feel like you're really being needed to do this for whatever reason. Spirit is saying like we can't avoid it because we're being shown this big old light. And it's all about us, and we might be very resistant to accept any fault in the matter because we might really truly believe that we did nothing wrong. And Spirit is saying this is beyond action. This is now looking at it from a different perspective and saying, even though in the 3D world, maybe actions were done in a certain way that might have created pain and suffering, and it doesn't diminish that at all. There's other layers and dimensions. People might have been in shadow. People might have been learning their lessons. And so this doesn't make it acceptable for the 3D behaviors. This just means it doesn't take parts of me. It doesn't make me feel diminished. It doesn't make me feel like it's touching the essence of who I am, because the essence of who you are can never be diminished, no matter how another person acts. And I feel like you really want it to be appreciated, or you really want that apology, And I feel like you feel as though because you want harmony and you want to work together, that should be enough. And it's like this other person is on a different page or on a different planet. It's like, no, you're also on a different planet, and both you guys are doing something here. And all you can control is you. So now it's time to flip it, because you can only control yourself, and work on that flipping, because it'll take time to flip it. Because I feel like if we've really held on to this anger and this hurt, and we really have that belief integrated as true, it's going to take quite some time to undo this resentment or this anger, or this need for forgiveness. Like, we got to really keep looking at that and really keep observing, like, why is it that I'm still hanging on to this sort of thing? I know that my purest essence was not impacted, like my value is not predicated on someone else's behaviors or actions. And it's not, again, coming from a place of, I know my value, therefore it's like, I don't know, like from this standpoint of ego. I feel like you're getting in your own way of happiness and harmony with either this situation, this person, or your own go forward relationships. And it's like, because of this past experience, you're screwing up your whole future here, because you're not going to experience full joy, full sun, full bliss, full release and happiness, tranquility and calmness and comfort. Will forever be tight, guarded, annoyed, And I feel like you're in fantasy, because no one's out here threatening you because of you. They're out here threatening you because of them. That's it. And once we see it that way, shift, then it's like, it doesn't bother me. There's so many people with abandonment wounds, thinking in the moment, because they have shadow, they have poor self-judgment, they haven't learned lessons, whatever the reason being. And we're not there to figure it out and then say, yeah, this story makes sense. Okay, now I can get over it. It's like, no, you'll never know, or maybe you will know. But just chalk it up to people are doing what people do, and especially if they're unconscious, especially if they are hurting. And so therefore, we don't need to accept those behaviors as something that's deficient within us, but we see it, and it really diffuses things. And I feel like your body language of energy is really defensive, whether you know this or not. And so it's defensive here. So this means good things can't come. People can't approach. We're guarded. We're hurt. We had an experience we didn't like. And now it's in the energy body here. And so spirit is really saying, like, there's something about the good and bad here. You know, it's like seeing it this way or that way. It's only either this or that. It's like very, it's either right or wrong. They either hurt me or they didn't. They're either good or they're bad. They either want to do good by me or bad by me. And no. It's so nuanced. So nuanced. That's like they could do bad things and also at the same time have a deep, deep sort of respect for you, but it's triggered from a lack of respect for themselves. And so it could be like, oh, pile 2 is like completely strong and, you know, not like me and confident and all of these things or whatever. And I am just this loner, whatever. So it's like, it doesn't matter how I act with pile 2 because, you know, that's sort of an energy where it's like, that's a distorted view on their end. And so instead of trying to change their view and have them see, and why don't they understand? And I want to be validated and see my point. It's like, who cares about their pace? Spirit knows their pace of their journey. Let them go through their own suffering and their own identification of their shadow and all of that stuff. That has nothing to do with you. Who are you to be judge and executioner of when and how they should see you and how they should learn lessons and what is right and what is wrong and what's in good action and what's in good timing and what is of gold standard and what is not? Like, no. Okay. And I feel like what Spirit is really talking about here is when we go through this true forgiveness, true understanding of this, and seeing the benefits of an experience here that could have been very, very painful, all we're doing is opening the blessings for us. You're doing yourself a favor, not this person a favor. No, you're bringing justice to yourself. So Spirit is saying there is justice to be had for you, and it's found within you by shifting your understanding of your situation. And you have to get out of the same way you keep seeing it. They're the threat. They did the thing. There's something in your mind that you're really hung up on and stuck on. The way it happened, you know, and you might say, no, I've seen it from all these different angles. It's like, yeah, but you're still in the mind about it. And that, let's say, compartment in which you're unpacking is all from the same language. There's another area of reality here, and it's actually the truth that Spirit is showing. Okay, now there is your truth. That happened, but it's your truth, your experience, your perception. And then there's this person's perception, experience, and their truth, and both are equally valid. One's not wrong and one's not right. They're both equally valid. It doesn't matter what pains you've experienced here in this, the truth reality. The truth reality is as it is, despite who suffered more or who did what. That's not reality. That's your own understanding of how it should work. And none of that is true. Spirit is saying there's a truth here. Okay. And when you align yourself with reality and truth, that's when you start to allow happiness in. And that's shifting your perspective. That allows you to transform and shift and allows you to bring in people of the same sort of caliber as you and maybe even shift harmony in the situation. Because I do feel with these side by side that actually whatever and whoever you're dealing with is actually equally in the same sort of camp as you here, with equal sort of sufferings and all of this type of stuff. But we're only wanting to see our own suffering. We're only wanting to see our own injustice. We're only wanting to see the other person's faults and how they did me dirty. It's like, I want to be seen and appreciated and validated and apologize to me. No. Okay. And so I feel like we are not being shown the next thing or the next relationship or the next path or how to find the harmony yet, because we're so focused on this injustice. And Spirit's saying, like, you'll never find the path forward in that energy ever, because all this does is block your joy. All this does is block your clarity. All this does is perpetuate an anger, a sadness. And so there's a future you could have, and it's not going to come from finding justice here in the way that you think justice is going to come. This justice comes from your own inner work and how you're dealing with things and not seeing it as black and white and good and bad. And I don't know, I feel like you either got abandoned, this person didn't show up, or something like this. But Spirit's really talking about you limiting yourself and confining yourself and being very restricted to all the blessings and good things that could be for you, because you choose to live in an illusion. And it is an illusion. This isn't taking away that you experience something that was painful, but the belief and the construct of your mind right now of what you're telling yourself about why it happened and how it happens and how it needs to happen and what should happen now, that's the illusion. None of that is real. That's all your concoction to make you feel better, or your understanding what should happen because that's your truth. Your truth isn't reality. There's a reality and there's your own truth. And so this doesn't mean like turn on yourself, in a way here that diminishes you. It's saying, no, I understand what I experienced, but accepting the fact that I could entertain a different reality. And it feels uncomfortable because I wanted justice and I wanted to be right and I wanted to be validated in that experience. It's like, okay, validate yourself in that experience. No one else needs to validate that experience. You do. That's all that matters. You validate it. You understand it. You make peace with it, and then you allow yourself to say, but I know that my future and joy and harmony is more abundant for me. And in order for me to get that abundance, I have to transform myself. That comes from within. It takes a lot of work and courage and strength to stand up on those legs and want to be more for self. Not to wait around with crossed arms, waiting for harmony to happen and justice to happen so the other person can turn and see the light. It's never going to happen. Never. No. They're not, unless it's a miracle, but it's not going to happen. So get out of illusion. Stop waiting for someone to give you an apology. Stop waiting for things to come correctly or things to be better, And if we're really annoyed, we don't want to shove down those feelings. But I really feel angry. I really feel annoyed. Good. Like, sit with that, That's not saying disassociate from your emotions. No, you're angry. Good. Like, first step, be angry. Admit what's happened here. And if you want to play it out in your mind, okay, I feel like saying this and I feel like doing that, good, let it out. You have to let it out. You have to. And maybe you're the type that's like, I don't want to do that because then I know bad karma or whatever. And so you're sitting there with it. No, energy needs an outlet. Now, this doesn't mean go over there and punch someone in the face. This means play it out energetically, because sometimes we just play it out in our mind, or we talk about it or write about it or sing about it or talk to the person about it if you have to, whatever form. And I feel like it has to come fully out, not bits of it, not suppressing some of it, because I feel like there's part of it that hasn't come out yet. Let it out, 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 whatever that angle is, and it'll keep it'll keep coming out. It's like, Justice, you're out of here. Okay, it has to happen that way first before we can move towards what's for us. We can't just say, okay, what Linda's saying makes sense here. And it's not even Linda, by the way, it's Spirit, because it annoys me when people say good advice. It's like, I don't know what I'm talking about here when I'm channeling. But anyway, so Spirit's coming through here saying, it's not about you all of a sudden saying, ooh, this makes sense. Yeah, I want, because now we're pulled by the shiny light that Linda just mentioned, harmony, happiness. Yeah. Because that's what you wanted all along. Who doesn't want harmony and happiness? But Spirit's saying you're not ready for harmony and happiness and companionship until you deal with this anger, until you deal with this hurt. You're not going to leapfrog over this all of a sudden. You can't, because I feel like you want harmony and happiness. You want companionship, but you're not dealing with this thing. You're trying to bypass over top of it, leapfrog this difficult thing that we got to sit with. Because why? Because then we'll see parts of ourselves we didn't want to see. That's the shadow work. I was actually carrying this anger, or I was actually a part of this, or I was doing certain things. And again, I'm not victim blaming or shaming here. I'm not saying that what happened was your fault at all. But what's transpired since then has been in your hands. And so we got to be honest. What's transpired since then? What has happened since the initial pain? Take a look at that. Be honest with yourself. Don't be an illusion and fantasy about it. Yeah, but it's because of them, because they started it, because what is that? That's all nonsense, right? So now it's like, this happened and I'm in the reality of what has happened. It didn't feel good of what has happened. I'm going to feel what it was that had happened. This is honest to goodness how I'm feeling. I'm going to align with this. I'm going to let it flow because how I feel is justified and valid. I'm upset. I'm hurt. I'm annoyed. I'm let down. I want more. I want to be validated. I want to be appreciated. Okay, good. Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. And now we're going to get into reality and say, okay, but does this person have to toot my horn? No, nobody owes you anything. Does this person have to do anything? No, nobody has to do anything. You are being called, okay? Because I feel like once you learn this whole thing, the floodgates open with the sunshine here. Companionship, harmony, sunlight, angel, priest. Wow. bells are singing, you know? And so I feel like there is this ability for you to see the goodness in people because you'll see it in yourself. And when we see shadow in self and things we don't like about self, this is sort of how we put the lens of our eyes on other people. When we have the lens of anger, hurt, let down, injustice, we start to see the world from that lens. And it creates more suffering and situations that aren't good. So we get in other relationships and we experience the same thing. We can't find the right people because that's all we see. And it really clouds our whole world and it doesn't feel good. And Spirit's saying, okay, we're going to get out of it and it might take some time. And we're okay with this as long as we're always aligning with truth and reality, not the illusion, not the support that thinks it's going to bring the justice. That's true justice for yourself. And that, again, because we're seeing happy face, sad face, wrong and right, black and white. I feel like what Spirit is saying is when we start to get into that black and white thinking, we got to be on high alert and say, am I seeing this as right and wrong? Because the truth might be somewhere in the middle that I'm not really understanding or seeing. And just because I don't understand or see it doesn't make it not true. Okay? And I feel like there's a whole flip here, flipping the script on how you're seeing things. Whatever you thought was bad is actually a blessing in disguise, you know? And I think whatever you were seeing in this person, actually, I do feel was also some projection of self here that might also not be true necessarily. So whatever happened in this injustice, I feel there's more to this. I do. Okay. But we can't see it right now. We're too blinded by our own self and our own desire to get an outcome of justice, outcome of being seen, an outcome of why you left me or abandoned me or whatever. And it's like very limited. And so we can't move forward. We can't be happy with our future person, place, thing, whatever it is here. Okay. Because the only person, again, like I said, you're going to free is yourself. Like you have this beautiful, angelic, gold essence about you that I feel you haven't connected to because I feel like an experience has clouded your judgment here. And so Spirit's just really wanting you to connect back to this thing. That's the path. The gold is the path. What's the gold? That's your pure essence. Okay, that's truth. That's the path. But we're not seeing it right now. Okay. So I feel like you just need a direction, direction in this thing to experience this thing and let it go once and for all. And if only your motivator is the ego to say, because I want happiness in the future for myself, and of course we all want happiness in the future. So we say, well, that's not really ego, but in a way it kind of is because it's self-serving, saying, I'm doing it for this reason. And it's like, let it start that way because I assure you it won't end that way. Because with this angel here, this isn't about me and how I make me happy and how I bring my companion in and how I get harmony and how that's ego. This is all about I need to be motivated by something. And right now my motivation is to find harmony and happiness because I'm suffering here in anger and upsetness because of the injustices of the world. And so my ego is going to drive me to do better, be better, see better. And I'm going to try this thing and I might fall back. Okay. But it takes releasing and transforming this thing. And then we come to the point where we see clearly in reality, and reality is non-threatening, It really isn't. That doesn't mean bad things aren't happening and people aren't in shadow and the effects of that reality isn't true, yes. But how it impacts you, that's the reality. That's what you see. That nothing and no one can impact you in the same way or fashion ever again. That's under your control. That's the truth. And if you believe they can, they will. If you believe they can't, they won't, So I feel this is it. I don't feel I need to do tarot here. Beautiful angels, I hope this helped you. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 3. You guys picked the orange tangerine marker with the cute little kitty cat that looks like it's giggling. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's take a look. What are we looking at? Well, I asked Spirit for pile number 3 exactly. What is pile 3 spending their energy on? What are they sort of concerned with? And whether you're consciously aware of it or not. And if you're like leaking out energy subconsciously towards something that has concern, and where you should be sort of focused on, okay, what you should be concerned with. Now, Spirit is not telling you what to do. You have free will and conscious choice to do whatever you want. Okay, this is for those of you guys who might feel as though you're misaligned, or you want validation or confirmation that what you are invested in or doing is aligned with your highest. And so what are you concerned with? And how should you tweak it, or how should you see it, or what should you sort of course correct yourself with? Okay, so I've not looked at these cards. And the best way for you to know whether this is your pile is to come up with what you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether the message is right for you. If you're in tune with your intuition, you can go straight away to the channeled message. Okay, let's take a look. So we have mortification. Wow, this is the death card. So Scorpio energy, 68. Okay. Mortification. Let's see this one here. We have miracle. Oh my goodness. 33. So 33 is a master number. Reproduction, creativity, humor, Christ consciousness, joy, and harmony. It says the frequency of miracle supports our belief in ourselves as part of source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. Oh my. My. Look at this beautiful orange. Loneliness. I know that I am never alone. Oh my goodness. Okay. And we have strength 8, compulsion, ideal, ego level. So we have a lot of Leo pulling through here. It's also feeling with this orangey, yellowy sun here. Okay, straight talk, vitality, fight, power, control, courage. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. 8 is all about movement, change, attainment. It's also about authority, manifestation. Okay, leadership, abundance, and goals. Yeah. So we have stinginess. Oh my goodness. 50, or the number 5. Stingy with his time, refusal to share, tight-fisted, inaction, unavailability, retention of knowing. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. Sin, ego level. Look at all this blue. So blue could be throat chakra. Okay. I do feel these. So we have your fear. Number 1. One's all about new beginnings, potential opportunity. Okay. And then we have transcendental escapism, 72. Or number 9. Interesting. It's kind of getting opposite energy from this miracle. Judgment, 32. Or the number 5. And 99. Interesting. 99 is being the change you wish to see, helping humanity to release what no longer serves. That's powerful. But we have conversion here with 66. So 66 is a master number. Service is a source of joy, in which one pours from an overflowing cup, not martyrdom. It comes through this channel quite a bit here. Your big compassionate heart. The opposite of the stinginess energy. So we see your fear, transcendental escapism. Okay. And we have faithfulness with the doggy here. Okay, this is friendship, loyalty. Some of you guys might have a dog. What kind of dog is that? Do you guys know? Faithfulness. Community, 39. Or the number 12. Okay, I kind of get 4 wands energy from this community card. We have the hold, 32, or the number 5. So we see a lady here. She looks sad. She's being embraced by 2 hands, forming a heart. The hold. And we have 28, or the number 10. 10 is endings, mortifications, endings, Mercury and Pluto. So Mercury is the ruling planet for Virgo and Gemini, all about communication, divine timing, expressing ourselves. And we have Pluto, Scorpio energy, the shadow. Okay, and then we have Jupiter and Saturn, number 45, or the number 9. So Jupiter, ruling planet for Sagittarius, Pisces, and Saturn is the ruling planet for Capricorn and Aquarius. Let's see these. I'm going to get the book. Specifically, this Mercury Pluto is really calling to me. 28. So it says, conjunct sextile trine, primitive. Your mind can be hijacked into lower forms of ideas. You identify with dark, even troubling thoughts and ideas. Adaptive. Your thinking is surgical. Your speech is powerful enough to slide under one's defenses to reveal hidden truths. Evolving. You have an extraordinary capacity to connect with truth at the deepest level, penetrating lies and falsehoods to raise collective consciousness and start important conversations. I'm getting chills, you guys. In conjunct opposition square. Primitive. Your thoughts and words feel locked in a deep chamber of despair. Adaptive. You leverage your deep need to get to the truth to become an exceptionally skilled detective or scientist. You can be counted upon to reveal what is hidden and unspoken. Evolving. Using the difficult and frustrating mental energies of the underworld, you reach into the pathologies of others and transform their pain into productivity. Oh my goodness, that seems like what this whole reading is about here. For me, anyway. Maybe this is my pile. My goodness. 45. Jupiter, Saturn. That's not even me, though. This is spirit pulling through here with all of this stuff. Okay, so, 45. I went to page 45. You guys, look at this. Moon and Mercury. I am going to read it. Okay, this might give us something. So it says, conjunct sextile trine with Moon and Mercury. Primitive. You're obsessed with your own feelings. You share far too openly without filtering. You are a wordsmith who accurately and beautifully describes feeling and nuance. Evolving. You have a gift for emotional oration. Your words reach right into the hearts of others to invite their inner angels to dialogue, very much along the same lines as that last one we read here. Primitive. You lash out verbally with mean words and accusations, uncontrollably gushing inappropriate content. Adaptive. You recognize the tension between what you feel and what you want to say, and you work with this tension to be strategic, authentic, and diplomatic. Evolving. As you commandeer language and emotion, you become ever more enthralling and motivating. Your verbal mastery draws you to bring your gifts to a higher and more noble causes. Wow. Okay, well, let's get to the 45 here, which is, that's fascinating. Jupiter, Saturn, conjunct sextile trine, primitive. You are caught in a push-pull between what you wish you believed and what you fear, your fear. You tend towards mania and depression. Adaptive. As you learn to regulate between reality and possibility, you build from the knowledge that creating the great things you imagine means working hard. Evolving. As a guru of heaven on earth, you model the small steps required to transform lofty, optimistic visions into truly secure realities. In conjunct opposition square, primitive. Your light is trapped under a heavy bushel, pessimistic and depressed. You focus mostly on what's wrong. Adaptive. You are learning to strike a balance between optimism and pessimism. Evolving. You are both an incredible realist and positive thinker. Rather than dwell on a problem, you adeptly problem solve in ways that allow for expansion and joy. Wow, I'm feeling a very ascended energy sitting in this pile here. But let's see. I do want to see this little bit of this here. What do we want to see, spirits? What's the first few words here? What does it say about your fear? I mean, your fears are obvious, but 15. What are your fears here? 15, it says, if you've drawn the sigil, you are not aware of or are not admitting to what you really want or need. Okay. Transcendental escapism, 72. So 72. I just heard just for you. What does that mean? Just for you. Okay. Transcendental escapism. If you have drawn the sigil, what is preventing your progression is that you are using things of a spiritual nature or higher intellect in order to escape and avoid the temporal. Okay. Yeah. If you've drawn the sigil, is this in the same? No. 73. Good thing I didn't read that. This sigil has come to remind you that you are using spiritual awareness or higher intellect as a form of resistance, escapism, and denial. Judgment. Okay. Yeah. And conversion. Got it. What is the conversion here? Number 66. 162. And it says, if you have drawn the sigil, you're either being congratulated or warned. Either you have made a positive change on the mental, emotional level that is now converting in the body's physical or increased well-being. Exactly. Okie dokie. Makes sense. And, oopsie, if you have drawn the sigil, conversion of mental and emotional truth is occurring. Wow. Powerful. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry. Companion, light attributes, loyalty, again, tenacity, and unselfishness. Wow. Shadow attributes, betrayal by misusing confidences, loss of personal identity. Murder, yeah. Remember I said that was coming through with the number 66 here. Okay, murder. Light attributes, learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself for a cause. Shadow attributes, addiction to self-pity. Okay, king, light attributes, enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. Shadow attributes, excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. Okay, and we have the stone, number 67. Oh, Spirit's funny. I'm going to call the stone now. Pulled this card a million times, but now we're going back to read it. That's fine. I don't mind. I ain't going anywhere. It says, the eternal, the anchor, the rock. As an archetypal object, the stone holds psychic and literal weight. Its energy is one of permanence, concreteness, and reliability. Oh my gosh, I'm getting this dog energy. The stone's ability to transform is not nearly imperceptible to us, as it changes ever so slowly over countless human lifespans. A single stone may see thousands of generations come and go. Therefore, it contains an ancient and eternal presence. The stone is best used to anchor our wild side. So no matter how far we roam, we can always find our way back. The stone tethers us to earth, helping to ground and connect us to the stillness, opposite of this energy. Quiet and peace. When this card appears, it is likely that the stone is a remedy for what ails us. Humble and easily unnoticed, the power of the stone balances the frenzy of our world. The eternal, the anchor, the rock. Oh, wow, I'm seeing in vivid color right now. Okay, the assassin, ruthlessness and conviction. Wow. Scorpio energy, Pisces energy with the eye. The assassin, ruthlessness and conviction. Anger. Use its fire to transform, not to destroy. Rage, frustration, and resentment. And we have change. Look at this beautiful balloon. This white horse. Freedom, liberation, ascension. I don't know that I'm going to use tarot. I haven't used it in the other piles, but it might. And we have restlessness with Mercury in Aries. Number 1, new beginning, potential opportunity, Fool, magician. Okay, I'm going to sit here with this energy. You guys can go ahead and skip ahead if you'd like. This might take a little bit here because there's so much to unpack. Pile number 3. Oh my goodness. Who are you? This is a pile that you've done a lot of work here. Okay. Like a lot of work. And if you're not quite where this energy is at just yet, this is sort of where you're headed here. Okay. So don't let this sort of stop your progress, because I feel like at one point in time, okay, you could have certainly been up in, spiritual concepts and spiritual unpackings, which I do feel is a huge part of your journey. Okay, but we can get totally lost in a spiritual world and run for cover there rather than deal with what's in front of us in the 3D. And both are real worlds, because the 3D is happening, although the 3D is sort of manifesting and unmanifesting. Okay, it's in constant sort of influx. And so there's nothing permanent about the 3D world. Okay, but it's easy for us to sort of escape into like the spiritual realms, for example, to run for cover if we need to, or we were just sucked and pulled into that realm with no sort of choice of our own, whatever. Okay, so I feel like it's been a huge lesson of sorts here, or a going through experience here that has been full of twists and turns and ups and downs. And I feel like there is a truth that you've been able to tap into, which is your truth. Looking at all of yourself, your fears and your truths, what is aligned with spiritual truths and reality, and butting that up against your judgments, your fears, and anything that has been going on within you, in order for you to alchemize energy here so that you could be the highest vibration or productive person here on Earth or in 3D. That hasn't been easy, because I do feel like for a lot of you guys, you are experiencing a circumstance, situation, or people that have been mirroring to you without energy, stinginess, withholding, not supportive, entitled. I feel like you've had to do this alone, and so we have loneliness here. And so we know when we go through experience that we're never really alone, but we don't just know this. We have to sort of experience a loneliness, an abandonment, a withoutness in order for us to connect to. We're never alone. We're always connected, and an acceptance here. But it doesn't mean that you're not human and all of a sudden you're like, I'm great being sequestered here in my world. And I feel like we could go back there, I feel alone, I feel shut out, I feel not accepted or loved. But I don't feel this is from a place of victimization so much as it is a human place, a feeling like wanting to connect and be accepted and be loved by people in general here, And I feel like you've been put in the line of fire. And it's not because Spirit was trying to just play tricks, like I always say, but it was like a test of endurance here, and a fighting for your life, it feels, because Spirit says until you have to go through the battle, the experience, and in the trenches, you'll never understand what you're about to understand here, which is a big, big, big truth, a reality here that transcends past 3D, that other people might not see or connect to. And so you're learning all of this for yourself, but also to deliver this. There's a deliverance here, of truths, of the way you sort of are able to bring this experience that you've had into understanding in order to communicate and deliver truths and lessons and experiences for either the people around you or for the collective, however you do it. And the only way is to go through tough experiences here. And I do feel like Spirit is really talking about there being a lot of alchemization of very difficult, challenging energy. Like dealing with people who might be very angry, maybe having to go through the anger ourselves. And how do I manage this properly? People withholding, not wanting to share, people not being available to collaborate or communicate, or even for us to have an outlet. And it's like my only outlet is maybe to escape, into the divine realms, to figure this out on my own, not to judge me. And maybe we had to go through a lot of this suffering period, like judging ourselves, sitting, feeling lonely, feeling left out, like all of this. But what has happened in this process, the die-off, will never be the same. And guess what died? All of that nonsense, all of that ego, all of that part of us that was creating the suffering. Because I feel like here you are your biggest advocate And your faithfulness lies in the divine in yourself and your ability to be selfless when you engage with the collective here. And what this is going to do is allow you to align yourself with the right people, the right vibration, the right partner, the right soul tribe, the right foundation. And so if you haven't aligned yourself with this just yet, Spirit is saying all of this was in order to raise your vibration to align to this, because you are of value here. And I feel like there is this energy of you having to output. And I feel like this has been like this by design, because you have been blessed with the ability to see and understand from higher levels. But just because you're able to do this, you might have questioned, like, why then all the suffering, or why then all this struggle, or this test of endurance, this need to be persistent and all of this stuff. And it's like, for there to be a change in this world, for you to be free, but also for the collective to find freedom within themselves, this great truth that all of us are free, that all of us can be tapped into the divine, that all of us have this push yourselves ability to see things beyond this time and space. But yet collective is choosing to sort of live in matrix or turn a blind eye, but not pile 3. And so what a blessing to be able to see and connect with this energy, because now we're really aligning ourselves with what's possible, and miracles here of things that nobody could have ever dreamed possible. But that's the highest vibration. It's like, I'm in the highest vibration of bringing in miracles. I'm in the highest vibration of bringing towards me the greatest gifts that the divine can do here, because of my ability to be selfless and to be open to what I can contribute here to the collective. But I feel like what Spirit is saying is, like, there is the big test, and I don't know where you fall in this big test. We're trying to gain control. We're trying to gain some power, maybe over ourselves, maybe over other people. Maybe we've had judgments over ourselves, judgments over other people, how they should be, what they should say, how it should make me feel, how I should feel, and all of this stuff, but I feel like this is what we're sorting through. It's like, this is a judgment. This isn't aligned with the highest. Next. This is my fear, and this is how I communicate it. Next. It's like, it's very dealing with truths and seeing things objectively, seeing it in the 3D world, and then connecting to this higher level of spiritual realms, which again isn't as easy in black and white, but it's understood. There's no words. There's no words for this wisdom. You can't explain this to anyone who doesn't sort of get it, get it, Ineffable. Like, there's no words that can explain any of this stuff. And so I feel like you are blessed with the ability to explain what you can in words and deliver what you can through being authentic and speaking truths that I feel stand the test of time, that have been really lost here maybe in humanity, or needs to be connected to, because I was really getting an evolution here of humanity, into this new earth, into this higher vibration, where we're no longer sort of sitting in this matrix suffering world in the way that we've always been. And although it's a slow evolution, there's a great truth here, and you're pioneering this sort of change, this elevation of humanity through this understanding, through this blessing, through being given this gift. And it's a gift and a curse. And wouldn't that be funny? Because paradoxically, this is exactly how spiritual truths work. They're always paradoxical. You can't experience the sweet without the sour. You can't experience joy without the suffering. But it's like finding that balance. And so this has been really finding the balance of self, how to engage with people who are on polar ends, completely stingy, cutting you out, unavailable, on your own, and the opposite end, of the spectrum here, not by choice, but by design. And then experiencing most likely the other end, where you're welcomed and loved and embraced, and you might have already experienced that at one point in your time. Maybe it was robbed from you, maybe it all shifted all of a sudden, or maybe there was a hope or a desire of what that would look like. But what Spirit is really saying is that there is an energy here of you being so adaptable to truths that the right people and relationships are also not necessarily set in stone, but are always going to be able to align to you through you get what you need. You get who you need, when you need it, as long as you need it. And this is a true miracle. Because only when we're conscious and when we can make decisions from that place, then we're always sort of aligning ourselves with the highest possibility. And that opens the door for people to come in that we might have missed, or opportunities we might have missed, or situations we might have missed if we were still battling ourselves, or still in judgment, or still too trapped in fear. And so I do feel like for some of you guys, it's still a part of how you used to be, to get maybe down on yourself, or to catch yourself in judgment, or to understand that, hey, this is a legitimate fear. But I feel like you're a sleuth here, that these fears are coming up. And instead of turning a blind eye, you're converting this into light energy, and you're putting an end to all of this type of stuff that's created suffering in your world by transmuting it, not by pretending it doesn't exist, or not wanting to crack it open to look at it. But this is truly like, it's no longer in the same composition in which it sat in the shadow. This is either you release what no longer serves you, or you take whatever it was to transmute it into something else. But whatever composition it was at when it remained challenged in your energy body, it's no longer there. It's died off. So all of these die-offs have been happening constantly. You know, the ego's dying off, the false self is dying off, the fears are being transmuted and dying off. You know, our judgments of other people and what we expect from them and what we need from them is being identified and worked with and understood on deep levels, so that there is a balanced self coming through here. Because I do feel like we might have been really pushed, you know, and it could be dealing with people who feel entitled, who want to rule over us, or who are sort of dictating sort of control or thoughts here with this king energy. And maybe we've had to learn from, like, what does loyalty look like? Where does my loyalty lie? Where does my truth lie? And are my actions in line with supporting myself, you know? Because we can easily turn on ourselves when we're not loyal to ourselves, when we do things that's misaligned, because we want to be selfless, or we want to be serving, or we have an understanding here of maybe wanting whatever sort of outcome that we had in our mind, which is, we're realizing the wrong reason to do this. That being faithful to ourselves, being loyal to ourselves, must be number one here. Because when this is in line, then we're honest with our fears, and we're truthful with our words. And then we speak truths that other people see very clearly. And then everything sort of flows as it should. Not resistance, not struggling, not trying to control, not trying to avoid. There's dealing with things head on here, you know. But I feel like this is the lonely path of the hermit. And I don't know how long you've been on this lonely path of the hermit, but the hermit had to leave his world behind in order to go sit on a mountain for however long it took to understand whatever learnings he was needing or being called upon the divine to understand. And all of our journeys is different, and all of our understandings and lessons are callings from the divine. It's blessings and miracles. And so I feel like your other self has died, you know? It has died. And it was needing to die in order for this beautiful self to sort of emerge here. So I think you're finding the fine line between remaining balanced and then going back into sort of old habitual ways, potentially ego, you know, a need to fight or control, or you know, we might think that we have more control in matters, and having to remind ourselves, like, I'm not alone in this. I don't control this. I got to sort of let my hands off the wheel and let spirit sort of guide me here. And I have to be courageous to face what I'd be called to do, because I feel like that's a big one, is like I have a fear of maybe disappointing people, or maybe like there's this like not being true to self, in situations. And now it's all about, I am true to myself. I need to be true to myself. And what does this look like? Because I think you put yourself last. And when we start to put ourselves last, we start to lose ourselves in our sort of who we are and what's right for us. And I think you needed to do that, to lose the identity, because whoever you were anyway, I feel like was an identity ego. And so I think people misconstrue what is the identity of the ego and what is the authentic self, because the authentic self has nothing to do with ego. You can have an authentic self and that be your identity, but it's nothing you're attached to. It's very fluid, and it comes from the heart space to be discerning and to take action based on what's presented to you. It has nothing to do with attachments to identity and stories. And so I feel like whoever you were in the past, which I feel like maybe it was a people pleaser, or maybe it was putting you last, or stuffing your fears, or like not knowing who you truly were. And so we were sort of living other people's game. It's like, no, that version of me has died. The only version of me now is the loyal version to myself, my authentic self, that acknowledges where my fears lie, why I did what I did, why I do what I do. And I'm no longer sort of sacrificing my own needs or my own voice or my own reality, but I need to know what my reality is first. And you were shown your reality by sitting on that mountain, or by being surrounded by stingy people or ruling people, or people here who were making you feel bad, sad, unsupported, maybe who were trying to hold you down or hold you back. And it's like, this isn't how friends behave, or this isn't how, now that I see what it is that true companion is like, or what true loyalty is like, or what true friendship is like, or a true leader, or someone who is courageous, or somebody who is a warrior. It's like being shown, but I think it's being shown through you. And so I feel like there's another message coming here, very, very sharp here. You're put in some miracle situation. And for all of you guys, it's different. But I'm going to use this one example that's coming through here. I feel like you've been placed at a certain point in time here in either someone's life or some situation. Specifically, it's very much by design here, in order to shine the light, in order to create change here in this person's world, or in this community, or in this family, or in this thing. It is coming from you. It is generated from you. It is life-saving. It is life-altering. It is eye-opening. It is shifting. It is changing. And it is something here that's going to create the biggest waves of change. It is a blessing and a miracle. And you've been given these keys, so to speak, so that you can speak truths, so that you can hold up a mirror, or shine the light, or speak something here that's going to awaken certain people, certain situations that I feel are either in real low vibration, or needing like a wake up and a shake up, because I feel you're being pioneered to this, that there's great truths here in order for there to be an awakening, an ascension of other people, a higher calling or a higher vibration that's available to these people, to this person, to this situation that's been in the dark, that's been avoided or misunderstood, or someone who's been inactive, or a part of this collective that's been inactive. So if there's like a stagnant part of this world that hasn't had a lot of change for some time, it's old in its way of approach, or I don't know, exploration. It hasn't shifted since, I don't know, however many centuries or years. You're put in that environment in order to create change. And for some of you guys, it's very personal and specific to individual who you might save, and that person might save another and another, or whatever. But I feel like if it's not a person, then it's a grouping or a collective of people, or an offering here to a certain sector of what's going on here, on planet Earth, that is quite profound. And so it was needing you to go through all this stuff, because only the warrior, only somebody who could remain balanced and in sort of control of their own emotions or their own ability to say what's needed, when needed, and how it's needed, and know when to hold back and know when to move forward and know how to gauge that not everyone is in conscious awareness, and be able to really intake where people and situations are at in order to reflect and work with that, so that we can respond and develop and be of most of service with those people in that situation. It's no help if we're just showing off all what we know, spiritually, or all of these wise understandings we have, if the other end isn't receptive or is completely on another planet or checked out. And so I feel like you have the gift to really understand and connect and see, not from a place of judgment, which I feel we've had to work on, but from a place of eyes of the truth of the divine, in order to say things and work with the energies so that we could bring truths and clarity, so that those people will make decisions for themselves. And so things will happen without force, but organically, as a result of your words and your support and your encouragement and your shining the light of awareness and your holding of the mirror and your communication and your support and the way you're delivering this thing. It's a blessing here. It's a miracle, to those and to you, because I feel like the more we sort of give of this and of self, the more we sort of allow to come in. And so I do feel like you might know that there's something coming, or that there's a big purpose, or you're involved in something like this. And so there's a feeling of restlessness. It's like, where's the line of when this begins, or like, what do I do now? And it's like you have all of this experience, so there's this conviction. And so when we're fired up with conviction because of this, it's like we feel a little restless. It's like, I want to then, like see my progress, or like be pointed in things. And Spirit is saying sometimes the win isn't obvious and it isn't pointed. It's just a word upon passing, an action we do, a thing that we might say to someone, and then we don't know the impacts of what we said or did, because we might never see that person again. Who knows? But it has profound change and profound impact. And so I think this is what Spirit is saying, like, don't get fixated on what you're seeing and the accomplishment and the, like this is the impact that I had, or this is, you don't know. You won't know. You might see just a little ripple of the impact you're having. Meanwhile, you might be having like crazy tower moments in people's lives and worlds for the better, without seeing or acknowledging or them coming forward to tell you this. But whatever it is that you're producing here, I do feel is in line with a great service and deliverance of this greater truth of awareness that's really tapped into the divine, and can only sort of come when we do this sort of alchemy of what doesn't work, or that lower vibration of whatever everyone else has been sort of experiencing, but personal to you, your own fears, your own truth, your own sort of way to get through this thing. And I feel like it's long, and I feel like it's tiring, and I feel like it's draining. But Spirit is really, really, really coming through here, like very liberating, and very much a service here. And so if you're feeling restless or you're not seeing it, just keep going back to Spirit. I know that my actions, my words, and my everyday is having impacts that I cannot see, for the greatest and highest good of humanity and the collective, or whatever it is that I'm involved with here. And I trust that as my life sort of feeds me with fulfillment, that means that I am doing good. That means that whatever it was that I was outputting and producing was benefiting someone somewhere, even if I didn't see it, And so the more blessings you're kind of bestowed upon by the universe, friends, people, love, then you know that the universe is blessing you, which I feel the universe wants to do. Okay, but we do have periods of suffering because we're human. And that is the way of the world. But I feel like you have a great gift here of now alchemizing and converting pain and suffering into light energy. And it's like a gift. because it doesn't sit in suffering long. The pain always comes. Like I say, we always get flat tires. People come and go. People do things that are hurtful. That's the pain. But the suffering is the choice. We don't need to suffer. We alchemize that experience and that pain into fuel, into fire, into warrior power, to speak more truths, to have more conviction, to deliver things here, straight from the divine. This is a truth, and I know it because it's coming from an inner experience that can't be faked. Okay? So, wow, pile number 3, big energy. I love you so much. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you're doing here, but I'm so honored to do your reading. I love you guys so much. I loved all the readings today. I do love you guys, and I hope that things do get easier here, for you, because I feel like there's been like half this reading is really that challenge. And the bigger the challenge, the bigger the, hermit's journey, so to speak, the more deliverance here. Okay. So don't get lost in this time thing, because there's no such thing as time. It's taking so long, No, it's not, because it's all being accumulated to your spiritual, your growth, your soul. This just transcends the body. This goes into many, 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 many lifetimes. All the work you're doing here. And I feel like you're gaining a lot of ground, more than people might have achieved in one lifetime or 10 lifetimes, and maybe an experience of 1 year, maybe an experience of 1 day. You're being pushed here. And I know, and you're being stretched, but only to your capacity, because the divine knows your capacity, and your capacity here is much larger than a lot of the people maybe you've been dealing with, and that's okay. We all evolve at our own pace. And I feel there's a lot of compassion from you, and we're having to push through the angers or the resentments. You're feeling like, why me? Why do I get the short end? And no, all of that is ego. We don't care anymore. We know people are withholding because they're suffering, and they're stingy because they're hurt, and they're flexing ego, but it doesn't matter. That's all nonsense. We're rising above this. Okay. We see right through it. Beautiful angel. And sitting in the ethers, it doesn't do anything, because I feel some of you guys might be there, because I think I have a few subscribers here who sit there. Spiritual realm, spiritual bypassing. No, this is about grounding it. Come back to earth, okay? And let's not sit somewhere in some transcendental trance. That does no one no good. You're being called to earth. You have something to deliver. Let's get on this. Okay, now you're not obligated, but get on it when we get grounded. Don't escape. Don't sit there in the ethers because you're safe. No, you're being called to earth here. Okay, that's why you might feel lonely sitting on your little hill there. Okay, come back to earth. There's lots of love to be had here. Spirit wants to give you big hugs here through other people, through experience in this 3D world. Okay, you deserve to be hugged and celebrated, and you will see this, but you have to come back to earth. Okay, so I love you very much. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.